afternoon, everybody. We are out here at the Liberty Park in Grapevine, Texas. This is also known as the wine tasting experience presented by Gaylord Texan here at GrapeFest, a Texas wine experience presented by Bank of the West. And even though we call it a Texas wine experience, we do often, we always,
Always?
We'll restart that. All right, here we go. 5 seconds. Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's Jordan here, and we are at Liberty Park here in Grapevine, Texas on Main Street, part of GrapeFest, a Texas wine experience presented by Bank of the West. And this area, actually, Liberty Park transforms into the wine tasting experience presented by Gaylord Texan. And what happens in the wine tasting experience area? So even though we have a lot of Texas wines here at GrapeFest, we also feature other regions as well. And this year we're featuring from the Finger Lakes region of New York, and I have Dan here, who is from Fox Run Vineyards in the Finger Lakes area of New York. And so Dan's going to kind of take us through this, through some of the wineries that are out here. Tell us about the region, tell us about the grapes. So Dan, I'll let you just take it over, take the wheel here, and tell the viewers out there all about New York wines.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Well, the Finger Lakes in New York has a long and rich history of winemaking. There have been wineries in the Finger Lakes for well over 100 years, but really only in about the last 40 years or so has there been a real focus on European-style wines, vinifera grape varieties such as Chardonnay, Cabernets, Riesling, things of that nature. Riesling is king in the Finger Lakes. It is our premier grape variety. We produce world-class Rieslings. I believe all of our well over 100 Finger Lakes wineries produce Riesling in a variety of styles, from absolutely bone dry to dessert wine sweet and even some ice wine Rieslings. Here at the GrapeFest, we've got wineries from a couple of different lakes in the Finger Lakes. There are 11 lakes in the Finger Lakes, but most of the wineries are primarily focused around 3 lakes: Cayuga, Seneca, and Keuka lakes. So we have wineries from Cayuga Lake, like Thirsty Owl Wine Cellars here, a nice family-owned operation, as most of the wineries in the Finger Lakes are small family-owned operations. And then you've got Fox Run Vineyards and Anthony Road Wine Company and Wagner, which are all on Seneca Lake. The majority of your Finger Lakes wineries are on Seneca Lake. Now these lakes are very long and narrow lakes, glacially carved about 15,000 years ago. And some of the depths of these lakes can be as deep as over 650 feet, which virtually, Seneca itself at 650 feet has only frozen over once in the 20th century. So it protects both ends of our growing season. The climatic effects of those body of water are what makes us able to grow grapes in the Finger Lakes. Same reason they plant on the riverbanks in Europe. They really are very much like rivers. And a ton of soil diversity in the Finger Lakes. Those glacial movements are very good at mixing up your soil types. So we have slate in the Finger Lakes, we have sand, shale, all kinds of different soil types. Even on small 100-acre farms, you can have a half a dozen or more distinctly different soil types.
So tell us, Dan, what's the first misconception a lot of people have about New York wines if they're not from New York? So, you got 90% Texans are going to be out here, and what's the number one question you get a lot?
Oh, we get asked, where in New York can we even grow grapes? Because so many people just picture New York City. They think literally, they think of New York, they just think of the city. We're talking about farms that have been growing grapes in the Finger Lakes, again, for many generations. We've got some farms in the Finger Lakes that are on their 5th generation of winemaker or grape grower, or even more than that. These are wide open rural areas filled with small towns of maybe less than 1,000 people in some of these small towns. There's a very thriving grape growing and wine producing community there.
And so tell us, from Fox Run, what's one of the favorite wines y'all produce? What's one of your favorite wines?
Well, actually the 2 wines that I have with me here, while we're known for Rieslings, we actually produce 11 distinctly different Rieslings at Fox Run Vineyards. I have 2 other grape varieties with me today: an unoaked Chardonnay, which happens to be my #1 seller, written up pretty much every year by one of the major publications as a best value, a top buy. And I've got a dry red variety that we're known for at Fox Run called Lemberger. It is a German grape variety, or that's the German name for it anyway. It's Austrian, Hungarian in origin. A very dry red with a distinct black pepper character to it. So we grow 7 acres of Lemberger alone at Fox Run, really one of the largest growers of Lemberger outside of Washington State.
And so we've got take a look here, everybody. We've got, what is it, 7 different New York wineries that are here.
Yep.
Down here at the one end, we got Glenora, we've got Hazlitt, we've got Nap, we've got Wagner, You know a lot of these guys too, right?
I know all of them.
They're all your neighbors,
well,
pretty much, right?
All our neighbors, and in the Finger Lakes, even though we have, again, well over 100 wineries in the Finger Lakes, there's not a lot of competition. There is a lot of collaborative projects, a lot of information sharing that's really unique to the Finger Lakes and in the wine world. At Fox Run, we produce a wine in conjunction with 2 other wineries, Anthony Road being one of them, a very unique Riesling project. Glenora and Nap are sister wineries, part of a larger group of 3 wineries. We got the Hazlitt's, that's a family operation since probably the mid-1800s. They've been growing grapes over at Hazlitt and Wagner as well. So they're all small family-run operations that tend to produce around 15 to 20,000 cases a year. And in the world of wine, that's a pretty small production.
And what are your thoughts on Texas so far?
I love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's nice to be down here. I hope in the next year to be able to distribute our wines here in Texas and bring some wine down. I'm not sure, maybe Hazlitt has a little bit of distribution in Texas, but I don't think any of these other Finger Lakes wineries do. So hopefully next year we'll be able to bring a few wines down to distribute.
That's a good point. So that's what makes this area this experience different is we have New York wines and Canada wines, and at 99%, you're spot on. You can only get right here in Grapevine for the next 4 days at GrapeFest. Otherwise, you gotta go to New York or you gotta go to Canada, which I'm sure some people wouldn't mind. It's a little toasty here.
Yeah, please come up and visit us in New York. It'd be fantastic to have you.
Yeah, it's like 78 degrees up in New York right now, right?
Yeah, it was raining today, but it's still pretty sunny. The falls are really nice up there.
So, we're gonna be out here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, September 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Come out and see all these New York wineries from the Finger Lake region, not from Manhattan or Brooklyn. Not many vineyards right there in the...
Yeah, we're 4.5 hours away from the city, so it's a big state.
As you can tell, all these guys are very knowledgeable about what they're producing and what you're tasting. In fact, before we go, let's go over there. Let's pour one of your wines and you tell us a little bit about one of them. In fact, you got somebody manning your booth.
Yeah, I'm manning your booth for you.
My glass is right here somewhere, Jim.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, here's one right here, actually. Here's one of the custom GrapeFest wine tasting experience glasses that you will get. And here you go. So tell us about the one you're going to taste right here.
So here's our Fox Run Vineyards Lemberger, and again, a grape variety that we're known for at Fox Run. It's a good cool climate grape variety. So when we talk about cool climate wines, we want things that are going to be a bit more winter hardy because we do have long, potentially cold winters in the Finger Lakes, but a growing region not unlike Germany and Austria. They certainly have long, cold winters there as well. So Lemberger is winter hardy. It ripens in a shorter growing season, which is important for us too. It is fairly low disease pressure, which is nice for us given the areas that we live. The deer don't like it very much, which is a great bonus as well. And it tends not to have an off season. The way red Bordeaux varieties can have good and bad growing seasons, we get nice Lemberger whether it's a hot, dry year or a little bit cooler year. So nice, concentrated, nice color in a Lemberger, and it has a distinct black pepper character to it, defining character of Lemberger. It's a component that's right in the skins of the grape. Same thing that gives Syrah and Zinfandel their red pepper character. So in a cool climate red, you're fruit forward, moderate alcohol, soft tannin, very food friendly wines.
There you go, there you have it. So come on out to the wine tasting experience area presented by Gaylord Texan out here at GrapeFest. You can buy tickets in advance before you get here. GrapeFest.com. That'll have all the information about what you just heard. You can also buy the tickets at GrapeFest.com. You can also buy the tickets once you get out here on the festival grounds. This is a special ticket. Anybody is welcome to come in here and hang out, but you will need a special ticket to taste wines in this area. And as you can tell, you don't want to miss this experience. So get out here September 14th through 17th, Thursday through Sunday. Hours are on the website, GrapeFest.com. Thanks a lot, Dan. Cheers.
Cheers, Texas.